About 90% of Americans say they want to die at home. Only about 35% do, and most end up on a roller coaster of hospitalizations and decisions made without complete information. TaskRabbit data shows same-day moves are up 19% and quick moves up 23%, driven by a trend towards smaller, lighter, and more flexible lives. And scientists sat down and seriously worked through what alien visitors would actually be able to eat on Earth. This is New SideQuest, the show for people who want to know what else happened today besides what everyone is currently furious about. I'm Keith Conrad. Let's get into it. A piece published yesterday in The Conversation by a medical sociologist and a death doula puts hard numbers on something most people probably already sense from lived experience. About 90% of Americans say they want to die at home, but only 35% actually do. The gap between those two numbers is where the story is. What could be an intentional last chapter may instead become a roller coaster of hospitalizations and decisions made with incomplete information. A 2017 Kaiser Family Foundation survey found that a majority of Americans say that patients and their families should have the biggest say in medical decisions. Makes sense. Yet half of those same respondents said they think they have too little control over medical care decisions at the end of life. The hospice number is the one that caught my eye. People tend to be referred to hospice very late in the process, while those who have 6 months or less to live qualify for hospice coverage. The median length of a hospice enrollment in 2024 was only 19 days. About 1 in 4 patients die within 5 days of admission. Hospice is supposed to give people a supported, dignified, home-centered death. When the average person gets 19 days of it, it's not functioning as a transition, it's functioning as a formality. In American medicine, we treat death like a failure to live. Every intervention is framed as fighting, every refusal is framed as just giving up. Every family is asked in the worst moment of their life whether they want us to do everything, as if everything were obviously the right answer. Doctors and nurses who work in the system know this. Many have made explicitly different choices for themselves. The piece notes that the medical profession has a very different relationship with end-of-life care from the inside than it presents publicly. The two resources the Conversation piece highlights as underused are palliative care teams, who can be involved much earlier than hospice, even while someone is still receiving treatment, and end-of-life doulas, non-medical guides who help dying people and their families navigate the final months and days in ways that reflect the patient's actual values rather than just whatever the default is in the system. I think it'd be better for everyone involved if the priority was keeping people in their homes and bringing whatever help they need to them, and the research pretty clearly backs that up. Patients are more likely to die in their preferred location when palliative care is involved, and caregivers report higher satisfaction with this outcome when hospital stays are avoided. Have you had to navigate end-of-life care for someone you loved, and what do you wish had been different about how the system handled it?
Death stalks you at every turn!
Grandpa?
Well, it does. There it is! Death!
It's only Maggie.
Oh, yeah. You know, at my age, the mind starts playing tricks. So, death!
That's only the cat.
Oh, death!
That's Maggie again, Grandpa.
Oh, where were we? Death!
Realtor.com published a piece this week on what TaskRabbit is calling the micro move. This hits close to home, no pun intended, because Misty and I were literally considering exactly this kind of move ourselves. Those who are relocating this year are seeking to make moving more flexible, straightforward, and cater to their needs, culminating in last-minute moves, partial moves, and short relocation distances. The TaskRabbit data behind the trend is specific. Quick moves are on the rise, with TaskRabbit seeing a 23% increase in bookings for quick moves and a 19% increase in same-day moves year over year, particularly in cities like New York, here in Chicago, and San Francisco. Partial moves are gaining popularity, with TaskRabbit noting a 37% increase in search terms related to minimal moves and a 19% increase in searches for studio apartments, including a shift towards downsizing and hiring professional help for smaller moves. People aren't micro-moving because they love minimalism. They're micro-moving because the housing market has made flexibility more valuable than permanence. When the median home sale price just hit $440,000 and your rent can go up 18% when your lease turns over, the ability to move quickly and lightly is a genuine economic adaptation. The studio apartment search increase is probably the clearest signal of that. A 19% jump in searches for studio apartments on a platform primarily used by people who are physically moving their things suggests that people are actively accepting smaller spaces because they're cheaper and because smaller spaces require less stuff, which means the next move is even easier. It's a feedback loop: smaller space, fewer possessions, faster move, which creates more flexibility to move again. The apartment we were looking at was in our same neighborhood. We like where we are, and the goal was a better deal rather than a relocation. We didn't end up pulling the trigger, but the logic that got us to even looking is exactly what this trend is describing: maintaining local stability while staying open to a better deal. What's the most creative living arrangement you've ever made work, and what was the specific thing that made it necessary?
Well, it ain't much, but it's home.
How often does a train go by?
So often you won't even notice it.
The Conversation published a piece this week in which researchers from astrobiology, nutrition science, and evolutionary biology actually sat down and worked through what an extraterrestrial species arriving on Earth would be able to eat. And the answer turns out to depend almost entirely on what kind of biochemistry they're built on. The baseline assumption most astrobiologists work from is that life elsewhere, if it exists, most likely runs on carbon-based chemistry, the same fundamental building blocks as life on Earth. Carbon is abundant in the universe, forms stable long chains at a wide range of temperatures, and is extraordinarily versatile as a molecular foundation. If that assumption is right, an alien species built on carbon biochemistry might actually be able to digest Earth food in some form. Sugars, proteins, and fats would at least be recognizable at the molecular level, even if the specific configurations, shall we say, were unfamiliar. But here's where it gets interesting, at least to me. Even among carbon-based life, amino acids, the building blocks of protein, come in two mirror image forms called L amino acids and D amino acids. Earth life almost exclusively uses L amino acids. If alien life evolved to use D amino acids instead, our food would be essentially a mirror image of what they needed. And they couldn't digest it any better than you could use a left-handed glove with the right hand. The researchers flagged the toxicity problem. Many compounds that are entirely benign to humans are lethal to other species on Earth with different biochemistry, and the gap between us and a genuinely alien biology would be far larger than the gap between, say, a human and a dog. Something as routine as a banana could be poison for a life form whose chemistry simply didn't evolve alongside of it. If they landed in Chicago, we'd obviously take them to get hot dogs and deep dish pizza like all the tourists. Biochemical risks be damned. This is the correct way to welcome them. It's also worth mentioning that in the novel Project Hail Mary, Andy Weir deals with this exact problem in a way that is both scientifically thoughtful and deeply funny. The Iridians solve the question of what to feed an alien human by cloning muscle tissue from Grace and then making food out of that. He calls them me burgers. It's a generous solution, if a slightly unsettling one. If an alien delegation landed tomorrow and you were responsible for planning their first meal on Earth, what would you serve them?
Rest of the book. To serve men, it's a cookbook.
A dog turned on a toaster in its owner's home and caused fire that resulted in $200,000 in damages. The owner was not home at the time. The Lesson here is clearly to make sure your dog knows how to use all of your appliances properly before leaving them unsupervised.
Right.
A Rotterdam museum covers its entire floor in peanut butter to honor a late artist who worked with the condiment as a medium. Visitors are apparently walking on it. Given current grocery prices, people might start scooping it up and taking it home. The museum has not confirmed whether this is permitted.
Or we could not do that.
Robo-taxi riders in San Francisco are falling asleep in autonomous vehicles and not waking up at their destinations, causing frantic 911 calls from other passengers and bystanders who see a person slumped in a moving car. My two-part solution is an ad campaign about how relaxing the rides are, combined with an extraordinarily loud alarm at arrival. The robo-taxi companies have not yet adopted this suggestion.
I am shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
Taco Bell is under investigation following reports of a parasite outbreak causing gastrointestinal distress. Let's be honest, at Taco Bell, gastrointestinal distress concerns predate the current outbreak. These specifics are being examined by health authorities. The brand's reputation for reliability in this particular area is well established.
And what the hell is that smell?
That's it for News Side Quest. 3 questions out there under the heat dome. Whether you've had to navigate end-of-life care for someone you loved and what you wish had been different, your most creative living arrangement and what made it necessary, and if you were planning an alien delegation's first meal on Earth, what you'd serve and why. Email me at newsidequest@gmail.com or pay a visit to the Substack comments. See you tomorrow.